Welcome back to Crime and Plastic. How are you guys doing? You're not allowed to say fantastic.
I had an amazing week.
Yeah, what'd you do?
What did I do this week? Surgery.
Surgery?
Uh-huh.
What about you, San Rizzle?
I haven't pooped in 2 days, guys. I literally cannot remember the last time that I didn't poop in a day. And things are not looking okay for me right now.
You might be that person on the Delta plane. If it doesn't come out soon.
Because I had diarrhea, I don't know if you guys want to hear this.
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
I had aggressive diarrhea that woke me up
What do
from
you mean
my
aggressive?
sleep. No, it woke me up out of my sleep.
Like cramping?
I was in stage 5 REM sleep, and it woke me up. That's how aggressive it was.
But did you dream about pooping?
No.
Was it that aggressive? Did it
Yes,
actually go
yes.
into your dream?
Yes, that I was
Oh,
like, oh
that's
shit,
bad.
I'm literally about to. I thought I was on a Delta flight.
That's
So I
bad.
woke up, aggressively shot. Next day, didn't really poop, but still pooped.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, aggressive diarrhea.
Mm.
Then the next day, which is yesterday, no poop.
Yeah, because you're dehydrated now.
No,
From the diarrhea.
I've been mad hydrated.
Okay.
Look,
But maybe your colon is just clean.
look at this. I drink 4 of these a day.
That's a lot of water.
That's a gallon.
Well, good
So-
luck. It was nice knowing you.
So yeah,
I have these pills. They're called Laxin Forte. They're from
Today's episode is brought to you by...
They're like, I don't know if it's safe to take them every day. I do want to, but they're like called secrets of the Middle East or secrets of the Far East, and they're like extracts of, it's like in pill form, extracts of like plums and all of like different kind of fruits that make you poop.
Does it work?
It works.
All right, so take it.
But do you think it's safe to take every day to be regular?
I mean,
'Cause
what's the downside?
I don't know, because isn't it like bad to take laxatives too much? Because not like a true it's not like a stimulant laxative. It's like a natural. I don't know.
That is definitely not my tree.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, no, that's not my...
It's a
6
different.
years of med school, and he can't tell you if you can take laxatives every day.
I actually fell asleep during a colon class and had to make up the work, so I don't know.
Well, speaking of your colon, how's it doing?
My colon is great. My semicolons are great. My
Yeah.
periods and quotation marks are all my grammar punctuation
he
is
just had a
fantastic.
colonoscopy last week.
I did. Thank you for sharing.
And he's also been having violent diarrhea.
Yeah.
Not violent,
But
it-
aggressive.
It was violent.
liquidy. The bowel prep makes you literally pee through your butt.
That's what he said. He said yesterday, he was like, or the other day, he was like, I just pissed on my asshole.
Fun. All right,
I
guys.
think
now,
I said butthole, but it could have been asshole.
you know what's funny? He was in the bathroom upstairs in his house, and he FaceTimed Ava, who was downstairs, and he was like basically telling her the stories of his.
I'd like to share
Of
with
his
my
poop-
wife,
of his
my
pooping woes.
soulmate, what's going on.
Ava is his wife, yeah, my sister, and he's sharing his like pooping woes with her on FaceTime, and his sons Kobe and Yo-Yo were there, and they were like, he's like, my asshole is on fire.
Well, I
And they
didn't
were
realize that they were in
and
the
they were
room
like-
and it was on speaker.
They were like,
Well, why'd you have to tell her in real time? Like, you couldn't have waited?
That's what true love is. You ever see like a really good movie and you want to share it with your friends?
Not in the moment.
Well, see, then you'll know you're in love.
All right,
Wanna
so
share it in the moment.
I pooped this morning, in case anyone was interested. A small little poop. So
Fantastic.
so
Guys,
now
why
that-
are we always talking about shit on this podcast?
So now that you are all you guys are up to date with our pooping,
You and your potty mouth,
yes, with our pooping levels.
potty drama.
Do you have any news for us, Doctor, for your World News Minute?
Yes, there were 2 episodes actually, but the one I'll share is a doctor who got his license revoked because he was very naughty. He was actually embarrassing to read.
Yes, I have his whole story here.
You know the story?
Yes,
What city was it again?
it was in Edina,
Adina,
Minnesota.
Menzel?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah.
So a plastic surgeon in Minnesota lost his license, right?
Yes.
Was he
for-
also arrested?
Well, I'll let you know.
Okay. I started reading it and then like I audibly gasped
Yes.
in one of the paragraphs when it said basically
Basically, he was.
he's a pervert.
Yeah, he was.
I was embarrassed as a doctor, as a man, as a human being.
He was charged with 5th-degree sexual assault.
What?
Sexual assault, sexual misconduct, and he did a plea deal. So I will get into all the details of that story.
That's not the guy I was saying to you today, right?
No, different guy.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's like, why can't these surgeons be normal?
Can we get rid of all doctors?
It's not all doctors, but for some reason, plastic surgeons they just can't keep it in their pants.
Let's get into that. Santina wanted to give everybody a trigger warning.
Yes, it's a disclaimer. It's a very sensitive topic: sexual assault, sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't want to hear it, we understand. Obviously, I barely want to sit here and hear it. So tune out now if that's not your thing,
Yeah.
because it gets graphic, right? You're gonna give like some details.
Yeah, it does get graphic.
Okay.
So, Dr. Christopher Cavanda, he is 57 years old. He was trained at Wayne State Medical School in Detroit. He did his training in Leahy and
Clinic.
Leahy Clinic in Stamford. He had his own practice, Cavanda Aesthetic Surgery in Minneapolis. And he was just charged with 5th-degree sexual assault in Minnesota. And he entered a plea deal. He's waiting for sentencing November 1st. So he pled to patient misconduct and waiting for the judge to sentence him in November.
Mm.
But let's give you some background on what he did. So unfortunately, he's not new to this to these charges. He started offending, and it was brought to the Board of Medicine in Minnesota from 2008. He had his first complaint. So in January 2008, a patient complained to the board that he used suggestive language, suggestive touching, and they filed a complaint. The board dismissed the matter. A few months later, December 2008, patient number 2, same complaint to the board. The board dismissed the matter again.
Twice in 1 year.
Twice in 1 year, they dismissed it.
And the board didn't notice that's maybe a red flag? Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Then the third time in 2011, a patient came forward, patient number 3, to say that after in pre-op and post-op visits, there was suggestive language, suggestive touching. After she had surgery, they did have intercourse at his house, which is a clear violation of ethical rules for doctors.
We've said this before, that you're not allowed to have sex with a patient.
Right.
If somehow you guys fall in love, you can't be their doctor.
Right. So he claimed, when he testified to the board, he said that on the same day that they had sexual intercourse, he noted in her chart of physician-patient termination. So, but he did say that he realized that was maybe not enough timing to terminate the relationship, and it was an inappropriate relationship, he admitted.
So 20 minutes after he discharges her from the practice, he goes and has sex with her.
Yeah.
And he thought that would be fine.
Yeah, he thought that would be fine.
Not fine.
It was not fine. So the board finally took action, but it was, in my opinion, very minimal action. They just told him he had to take remedial courses. He had to always have
what kind of remedial courses?
I don't know, education on professional conduct, I guess. And then he had to have a female present in the room whenever he was with a patient. So he couldn't be alone in a room with a patient.
Which is pretty much good policy in most practices anyway.
Right. And then he, so then in 3 years later, this was 2011. So after 3 years of complaints, they finally did very minimal, reprimand to him. And he in 2014 he petitioned to the board to take away his like restriction, and they did. So he had an unrestricted license in 2014.
So he could see patients unsupervised.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Um, so now fast forward to we're in 2022, and they have 4 patients who are bringing complaints against this doctor, against Dr. Cavanda. So patient number 1 said in 2017, April 25th, 2017, she met with him to discuss having plastic surgery. June 8th, 2018, he did liposuction and fat transfers to the breast in the hospital. And then she had post-op visits with him June and July 2018. And in November 2018, she filed a complaint with the board alleging sexual misconduct. So she said this is what happened. She went to, during her post-op visits, she, would go in a room. He would tell her to undress. And then while she was fully naked, he hugged her. And then he like kind of touched and caressed her in a way that she didn't feel comfortable, because it wasn't like to demonstrate anything about her procedure. It wasn't educational at all. It was just like almost like just very like
Gropey.
yes, he was like groping her, and it was suggestive, and it didn't she was very uncomfortable with it. And then she said that while she was standing, I guess looking in the mirror, she was naked. He came behind her and like pressed himself against her so she could like feel his penis on her butt while she was like standing there in front of the mirror. And then he reached around her and lifted her breasts. And just, I guess, I don't know why he would do that, but like it made her very uncomfortable.
It's making me uncomfortable, Rosie.
It-
Can I get a little better picture of this guy? How old is he? Is he married? What's this deal?
So he is, I think he was married. This is 2017, so he was 50.
Mm.
And then she also said on 2 occasions, oh, well, so after you do liposuction, a lot of times patients wear a garment or a faja that, is very tight, and, to keep the compression down from the liposuction. So she said on 2 separate occasions, he helped her get into the garment, and he touched her vagina while he was putting it on, like, I guess, to help her. I don't know,
There's no reason to touch the vagina.
there's
Putting
no
on the faja.
yeah, no, that's what she said. Other people, when she put it on herself, she never had to touch her own vagina. When other people had helped her put it on, she didn't have, nobody touched it. So he was like adjusting it, but he would make it in a way so that he had to touch her inappropriately.
Mm.
And then she said, while her, well, and then another occasion while she was undressed, her upper body was undressed. He went himself to, I guess he was trying to show her something on her lower body to like what the procedure did, or talking about a procedure, but he went himself and just unzipped her pants for her to show her like the lower part of her body, like what it would look like with surgery.
Mhm.
So, and then October 31st, she had her final post-op follow-up with the doctor, and and then later on in January 2019, he like commented something on her LinkedIn, which she thought was weird, that he was like following what she
her.
was doing.
Mhm.
And
A little stalkish.
yeah. So she signed, and she filed a complaint with the board.
Okay. So like
Then
giving off like creepy,
very
lechy kind of
yeah,
vibes.
she was just very uncomfortable. So and then there
Very
was
unprofessional, very dusty, very nasty, very should have his license revoked forever. Is that where this is going?
Yes, I
yeah,
hope so. Let's see.
yes. Well, so then this is patient number 2. In 2019, Dr. Cavanda saw her for breast augmentation surgery. And during a pre-op visit, she was signing some paperwork, and she had signing her consents, I'm assuming. She had them on her lap, and he like caressed her leg and took the paperwork from her lap while she was sitting. And then during the pre-op visit, he had her stand also in front of a mirror, and he also again he stood behind her and touched like held onto her hips. Um, and then on November 25th, 2019, that was the day of her breast augmentation surgery at his. It wasn't in a hospital; it was at his clinic.
Uh-huh.
And she was getting her IV, and there was some difficulty putting the IV in, so she hyperventilated until like her IV was put in successfully. And then he came into the pre-op room, and he held her hand, and then he I guess she was laying down on, I guess a lot of pre-op rooms have like a bed that the patient lays down on, and then he repositioned himself to be by her feet, and he pressed his erect penis into her. Well, he was dressed, but like pressed it against her feet, and was rubbing, like he was rubbing against her feet. And then
Ooh.
and then
Ooh.
and then they were alone in the pre-op room, and he pushed her legs apart and pressed his erect penis against her vaginal area over her underwear.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she was also under IV medication. Maybe
Right. She was like,
she was
loopy.
like totally loopy. So then on January 14th, patient number 2 this patient called the doctor, and she was secretly recording the conversation with a private investigator. And
Smart.
and then she said, this is what she said. She said, "Okay, if you think I'm going to just sit there and let you run your erection on me right before surgery, and when I'm trying to move my butt, you keep placing your erection on my butt and then moving to touching it on my vagina and be silent about it with no explanation from you or not even a sorry. And you're not going to sit there and tell me that you're sorry for this. You're going to make me go to the medical board or the cops." And then he said that he gave her money back because I feel so devastated about what you experienced, and I'm sorry for your feeling my penis pushed against you. And then she said, "Why do you think that was okay to do to me? Why did you do that? I don't think I do not think that's okay. I'm going to verify and then make sure that there's always a nurse present with me anytime I'm with a patient that's disrobed and can feel uncomfortable. Okay, I'm so sorry because I know how devastating this is because of what my wife's been through."
What?
Yeah, I don't have any further details on that.
Mm.
And then the patient said, "Yes, I just hope you never do that to a woman again." And he said, "I can promise you that I won't. I just want you to know how you justify this in your mind, what you did to me, and you don't feel ashamed of it, and you can do it to others." And he said, "I feel ashamed for everything that you've been through. I do, and I don't feel it's okay. And I can promise you I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't have an experience with anybody else."
He's like talking like it's someone else who did it. Like
I
it's like
know.
something that occurred at his practice. And he's like, "I'm sorry you experienced that. Like, no,
I
you
know.
stupid ass motherfucker. Like, you're the one who did it.
I know, and I don't know what he meant. I'm going to verify. Like,
Verify
if I-
yourself."
It's
I know.
almost like he's talking about his penis having a separate mind to him. Like,
No, I think
it
he's
did
just,
something that I couldn't control.
I think that he's
That's
just
like what
trying
he's
to
saying.
avoid like incriminating
Any,
language.
or like accepting blame.
Yeah.
Or maybe he knew it was being recorded. Maybe he felt
Who knows?
I mean, and then he said,
it's not a good look.
"No." And then she said, "I don't get why you would do that." And he said, "I don't think there is any explanation." And also during the recorded conversation, he said that he did not want to be reported to the board, and that if patient number 2 came forward, it would be a personal and professional problem for him. So seems like he was married also, and
Yeah.
yeah, he was trying to get her, and to me, it sounded like he gave her her money back just to shut her up.
Now that I hear the details of this case, there was a very similar case in Miami in the 90s of a plastic surgeon down here doing the same thing, even a little bit worse. Like he actually like
Yeah,
pulled it out and was like, you know,
disgusting.
Death to all men.
I
And
know
then
men are so freaking weird, creepy,
so
gross,
creepy.
gross.
And then so on June 1st, 2021, she
Death to the
she
XY.
filed a complaint, and the patient, they told the investigator that she had called her friend on the day of following her surgery, and told her friend the following. Um, This is the patient number two's friend is saying this.
Right.
That's what she told her. She said that it was horrible with the IV and that she was pretty hysterical during it. And when it was all done, she calmed down a little bit. She said it was her doctor and the nurse in the room, and he had the nurse leave. She said he closed the door and came back to her. And when he went to put markings on her, that he climbed on top of her, rubbed his dick on her. And she said he had a boner and she pushed him off and said, "What are you doing?" And then he acted like nothing happened. And she was super shocked by that. And that was right before she went under, was about to go in. So he definitely also took advantage of the fact, she was in a super vulnerable state. She was right about to have plastic surgery. She might have even had anesthesia drugs started on her
Right.
when they put the IV in. And then she said that she also felt his erection on her foot and leg. And so the judge found
This is two
patient,
separate, unrelated patients saying basically the same story.
yeah, well,
Similar
patient,
story.
yeah,
Like
similar story.
rubbing an erect penis on a patient in the holding area.
Yeah, so the first one, it happened more during her post-op visits, and this one, because the first one was in a hospital, so he probably didn't have
Yeah.
as much opportunity.
Right.
And then this one was in his clinic with his staff, with his nurses. So he basically
Right.
just asked the nurse to leave and took
Right.
advantage of her right before she
I
went
wonder
to surgery.
every time I read shit like this, I'm like, I wonder what the female staff like
Well,
says and thought, because there's no way that they like
This
don't
can't be the
know.
first time he's
No.
doing it either.
yeah, but his female staff, like the board interviews them and they say they didn't know anything happened.
Yeah, liars.
Yeah, they
It's
basically,
possible.
How the fuck is that possible?
They're not in the room. How do they know?
but they know it's wrong that he asked them to leave.
After
Yeah,
he's already
yeah.
been told that he needs a female
Yeah.
chaperone.
I don't think I can say it. No, I can say it. I don't think I've ever asked a female person to leave on my own volition
Yes.
ever
Yeah, why would you?
in 30 years.
No, and not just that, like
Like I've had patients be like, "I want to talk to you alone privately," and even that makes me uncomfortable. Like I keep the door a little bit open, like
Right.
something like that. But I've never said to if your doctor ever tells a female staff member to leave,
It's a red flag.
it's a red flag because the doctor should not be saying that.
No.
but also like the female staff, like the nurses, like the patient coordinators, they end up spending like more time with the patient than the actual doctor does. So like you also imagine that there's some sort of like confidence
Right.
between like those female
Right.
staff members and the patient. So there's no chance that if this guy was doing this to several people, that none of them brought up some sort of like, you know, like inquiry or
Right.
like issue
Yeah.
with one of the female staff, like, oh, the doctor did something I didn't like. There's no way, like I
Right,
like
you'd think so, but
the-
maybe they were embarrassed, or maybe they were shocked, or
Maybe
they
they're
didn't.
scared for their job.
Oh, the employees.
no, but I'm saying
Yeah.
the employees are lying.
Yeah.
There's no way. Also, like
Really?
women, like you get the sense when like a guy is creepy in general. Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to happen to you.
Yeah.
Like I doubt that this guy who's doing these like atrocious things is a normal, decent, like professional man to his women staff as well. Like
Yeah,
he
no,
definitely,
for sure.
if he crosses those boundaries that bad, he definitely crossed other professional boundaries. And obviously, they might have been scared for their jobs or whatever the case is, but they're fucking lying. There's no way that they
one
didn't
would
know.
think, but the case in Miami that I know about, and the reason I know about it is because the medical board made this doctor come when I was a resident come to the university and talk about professional conduct. That was part of his punishment,
Oh wow.
and he also had a restricted license for a while where he couldn't be alone with a patient.
Why isn't that? I mean, I get in emergency situations it's not always possible, but why isn't that just a rule?
What do you mean?
To have
That
a
have
woman
a
present.
female president. Why is it an extra restriction on your license? It should just be a rule.
Right. The answer is I don't
And
know.
I
guess
obviously
I think I know the reason why. I think because in some places it's a economic burden to have an extra staff member. In a rural place where there's very few staff members, and then you have to go. Okay, so then every time a woman is in the room, you have to have a man with the woman. Like it becomes like a whole
I
equality thing, and then it becomes a financial thing to make it a law.
I hear that.
But it's just good practice.
I think it should. I don't think that you could make a rule that if you have the staffing, you should always have a woman present. Or,
Yeah.
I
you know,
agree.
You
Or
know,
you
or
could-
like it could. I'm not saying if it's this clearly wasn't the issue that he most doctors' offices, they have an extra person, with them. It's not, I don't know. I feel like it's not a restriction on your license. It should just,
It should be like a baseline.
yeah.
Also, like the rule could definitely be made to like those people that it becomes a financial burden, like they can file for exemption.
Yeah,
So like it could be
exactly.
a rule that if you don't have the financial whatever you
I'm all for it. That's how I practice. But I'm saying, why isn't it a law? And I think those things come up when they start making laws. Like,
yeah, well,
what's
those are
the
bullshit
economic
reasons.
impact?
Yeah,
What's the
that's such
equality
that's such
impact?
a bullshit punishment. Like that's your punishment. You have to have a female present. That's your restriction on your license.
Your
It's
punishment
like,
is castration, then you can have your license back maybe.
Yeah.
Agreed.
yeah.
I agree because listen, this guy from the '90s in Miami, who may still be practicing. Actually, he's older now,
Ew.
but I think it was just like a kink. Like I don't think he abused his other staff members. Like I think it was
It's
literally
just like the power.
it was like a power thing, and it was always in the holding area or the recovery room.
when
It
they're
was
the
mul-
most
and
vulnerable.
and it was multiple patients, and it was other staff members that witnessed it. Like
That reported him?
Yeah, and because a lot of these patients were half asleep or coming out, they barely remembered what was going on, but they all had the same story, and he denied it. He said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so what I'm saying is, the other staff members, maybe he didn't cross boundaries with them, but this was like I said, like a kink or something.
But like you're saying, those staff members saw him.
Yeah,
Like,
those ones did
I feel
because
like
it was
it's
in the
so-
recovery room in like Premier Center or some
I
kind
just
of
feel like
one of
it's
these plastic
so
surgery
hard
centers.
for that to happen like in a vacuum. Like for it to happen to one person, maybe no one saw it, maybe no one heard about it. But when it's like when it's happening to so many people, there's no way.
Right.
This is the type of motherfucker that I wouldn't even consider for my prison reform.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because they'll imagine what they do to prisoners.
Yeah, these type of people, like they, oh my god, like I think sexual like
I agree.
predators
I
are like
agree.
almost worse than people who murder people.
I think they are worse.
Like you're disgusting. You're like the fucking scum of the earth. I hope you literally die in the worst way possible. Like
It really damages people too, like
it's
in the
so
long run.
it's
Yeah.
so terrible.
and it makes more. It makes more. I mean, people who are
Yeah.
abused become abusers. So
Yeah.
it's like it's horrible.
And also like when they abuse their power, it's like even worse. It's
Yeah.
like one thing to like,
yeah.
sexually assault someone, that's terrible, but like to do it to someone who you're supposed to be taking care of, who trusts you, it's like it's despicable.
It's gross.
It's despicable.
Now, third patient comes forward. This incident happened in 2010. She's coming forward now in 2022. She said she saw Dr. Cavella for breast reduction surgery, tummy tuck, and carpal tunnel symptom wrist surgery. When she had an appointment with him before the surgery, he lunged towards her, grabbed her breast, straddled her, and put his testicles on her knee. And then she just like stood up in shock, like straightened up, like what's going on? And then he got off of her. And then when she went home, she told her husband, who was an ex-police detective actually, and he came with her to the next appointment. She did end up having her surgery with him at a hospital, and she said she delayed reporting the incident because she didn't think she'd be believed, but it continued to bother her. And then she saw the newspaper articles about him with the complaints, and she decided to come forward.
Right.
And her husband also testified about it and about what happened to the board.
When the police officer came back the next visit, did anything happen?
No. Well, he just was in the waiting room, but I think it sounded like it was at the hospital the next visit because it was at the surgery.
Got it.
Okay. So patient number 4 comes forward. In 2016, she had a tummy tuck and she had drains put in during surgery. So what are drains for?
So drains remove the extra fluid that builds up under the tummy tuck skin flaps.
Okay.
And they stay in for usually about a week or so.
So
They don't really hurt. They're just like long plastic tubes with holes, and they go into like a little plastic ball that collects the fluid.
So that's pretty standard for a
Very
tummy tuck.
standard. Yeah.
Okay. So then she said during her post-op visit after her tummy tuck, Dr. Cavella touched the outer lips of her vagina when he was removing the drain from the area near her vagina. And that she also claimed that he rubbed her knee before he left. And then later on, she had another surgery with him, a breast augmentation and a BBL.
Mhm.
And she said that he was giving her lustful stares and making her feel uncomfortable. So she said that she was about to start working at a gentleman's club, and he asked her to let him know which one so he could visit her. When she saw him for her BBL, he said that he like kept turning her around like while she was naked and telling her she's gonna look so sexy, and he rubbed her thigh. It was just like very like suggestive, inappropriate, made her feel very uncomfortable, and he kept asking her to let him know which strip club she was gonna work at.
Right.
So she also filed a complaint with the board based on this. Also, the board received testimony from one of his ex-wives that said that he admitted to her that he had sex with patients,
Mm-hmm.
and that she even found a love letter in his closet from one of his patients. She said he admitted multiple times that he had sex with patients. He denies all of this. Finally, after all these complaints, the board revokes his license.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently in Minnesota, they don't have total like forever revocation. Your license is revoked is only after 2 years you could apply to have it reinstated. But the head of the medical board said she's been there since 1988 and she never saw that happen.
No one ever got it back. You're saying.
Yeah, nobody's ever gotten it back after it's been revoked.
She's been there since 1988.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Wow.
So he, like I said, got charged 5th-degree sexual assault, but he did a plea agreement for like mistreating patients, and in exchange for just like a house arrest. So he's not even gonna go to jail for all of this.
He needs to go to hell is where he needs to go.
Well, he's going there. Don't worry.
His license was revoked, but he's probably not going to really get. I mean, his sentencing is November 1st, so we'll see if the judge accepts the plea deal.
How old is he?
57.
Mhm.
So, but even the maximum sentence for this is a year.
Right.
So he wants to forfeit that sentence for house arrest, and he's going to pay a fine. And he had to pay a fine to the medical board of like $15,000.
Okay, fuck the medical board. Did he pay any of his patients? Like, do they get restitution? Like,
They gave one of them their money.
He gave
back.
one of them. I don't
their
know.
money back is not enough money.
I don't know if they were. I think they were. He was sued civilly. I'm not sure
Oh.
about the results of those civil suits.
Like, I get that we have like a justice system that's like innocent until proven guilty, but like if there's like more than one person who's said this about you, like the board needs to take it into their own hands. And like why is the threshold for getting your medical license so fucking high for certain things, and then for other things it's
so
like
low. Yeah.
I don't know. It's terrible.
it
It's
makes
just-
no sense.
especially. It's like you said. It's just like their patients are in a vulnerable position and they're totally abusing their power.
And on
Right.
top of that, they're paying you.
Yeah,
Like on top of that, like to add insult to injury, like you're making money off of this like disgusting like crime that you're committing.
so true. It's just really disgusting.
In the case I remember from the 90s, I remember the first defense was something like, oh, they were under anesthesia. They hallucinated. or
Yeah, that's the
something
one.
like that.
Someone I was reading is like they were
That's
under.
horrible.
No, they said but then other staff members saw it. Remember there was a case the
remember the
anesthesiologist in Brazil
Yeah,
who
horrible.
literally took his penis out when the patient was asleep and put it in her mouth. One of
Oh,
the other
she
doctors,
was giving birth. No.
one of the
Yeah.
she was giving birth. One of the other doctors or nurses saw it, reported it, and then they took him to jail. And I think he was killed, like in jail, like
He
within a
should be
week.
killed.
I think
That's
I think
horrible.
somebody
That
killed him within a
story
week.
was so horrible.
But it's a. I mean,
I think it's just just this abuse of power that they get this like feeling that they could just do whatever the fuck they want and that
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
that I
There's
don't
no
know. Yeah, there's
consequences.
no consequences, and it's really sad
it's a
because
psychopath kind of.
yeah,
Sociopath kind of.
because you think the people become doctors or good people who want to help people, and then they turn around and do that. It's just like
Also, like, how is that not a violation of like the Hippocratic Oath?
It's quite a violation.
So like, why not take away their license because that's the one fucking oath you took and you just violated the fuck out of it. So
it's
like,
true.
so like a medical board can't hear that opinion. Like they don't. They're. It's not. it's not clicking. Like this person can just, I don't know, even go to jail or not go to jail or pay a fine and then go back and have an entire, like, it's not even like they're like working for meager wages. It's not like they're going back to these jobs
Yeah.
where like they're providing some sort of like public good. They're not making a lot of money. It's like, no, they're going back to their job. They're making millions of dollars a year. They're like living a good life while doing these atrocious acts. It's not like,
No, it's
it's
disgusting.
not like they're working at Publix.
Horrible, and he definitely got away very, very lightly for everything he did.
It sounds like a 15-year pattern at least.
Yeah, disgusting.
What was his name again?
Yeah, guys are gross.
Dr. Cavanda, Christopher Cavanda.
Christopher Cavanda, you're disgusting. You're atrocious. You're despicable.
Just be normal.
I hope nothing good ever happens to you in your life. And I'm glad your license was revoked.
Well said, Tina.
Fuck you. That was a
Terrible.
really difficult
Yeah, that was.
episode.
Yes, it was. It was very difficult to hear, to talk about, to listen to, and these women were very brave to come forward, and finally, hopefully, they feel like they got some justice. I don't think you got enough justice, and I'm sorry about that.
There's never enough.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap this episode of Crime and Plastic, and we'll be back next week with another story. I mean, unfortunately, the nature of this podcast is they're all horrible stories that we're sharing with you.
Well, some of them are good. Like my prison reform was great.
Yeah, some of them are good. So we'll see you next week. Thank you guys for tuning in as always, and have a great week.